The two players who were just with you score so quickly. I mean that they get off their shot so quickly, but they also score in such spurts. How do they remain so efficient while scoring with volume like that? And their mechanics are so quick, but so efficient.
Yeah, it's kind of been a hallmark of our team to have players that are efficient. I think, AZ scored 20 points and took 9 shots. Sometimes kids take 20 shots to score 9 points. The two of them, they really have a great sense for the game, and they take really good shots. They're so confident in themselves. They don't need a lot of touches, and when they start making them, they keep making them. So it's fun watching them because they can blow a game open, and in a 3-minute stretch it can go from a 10-point game to a 22-point game like that. They just really understand. They really do. They know what they're good at, and that's what they do.
Geno, back here. You play so many players and so many combinations. Can you get too much information from a game like this?
Yeah, it's never great. It's never great when you play a lot of players. It can't look great. The cohesiveness can't be there. Too many people that don't spend enough time together on the court. So you take that into consideration, but you have to put them out there. You have to let them figure it out on their own and see what it turns out to be. Yeah, I mean, we could have very easily just found 7 players and just go with those 7 and play it like an NCAA tournament game, but that's not what these are for. They're exhibitions for a reason. So we saw a bunch of good things and we saw a bunch of bad things, and I guess that means it was successful.
Coach, AZ shared with us that one of her goals this year was to become an elite on-ball defender. Did you see AZ?
Oh.
Did you see anything from her on that side of the floor today that impressed you?
I thought we struggled a bunch trying to keep them out of the lane. I think that playing the way we played today, the way we want to play it, the pace we want to play, it really takes a lot out of you. And I worry that trying to play like that the entire time that you're out there, your legs kind of get, and it's not as easy to make shots when you're playing like that. So we have to be careful that we mix it up a little bit and we don't try to be that for 40 minutes. And AZ has gotten better at keeping the ball in front of her. But I think as the competition gets better and better and better, it's going to get a little bit more difficult. That's why you have to follow the scouting report, but we didn't have a scouting report today, so everybody was on their own. But she's gotten better. Certainly has gotten better.
Geno, what will your depth allow you to do that maybe you haven't been able to do in past years when your team hasn't been as deep?
Well, hopefully there can be a wear down effect. What's considered a really deep team, 8, 9, 10. It's not 15. So I think if you find a first and second unit and you can mix and match between those two anytime you want, I think it can give you lineups that will allow you to play differently as the game calls for. You know, the last couple of years we had to play one way, and that was it defensively. You know, we had to be very, very cautious. So if we're able to develop some of this depth, as the game goes on, we can change how we play. And combinations that go out there as the season goes on, some players will thrive with certain other players on the floor, and we got to find out who they are. But whenever you play that many players, the offense is going to suffer. No question about that, at least in the beginning.
Geno, you alluded the other day to how Sarah is on a whole other level this year. I wonder, is there anything that's happened behind the scenes in practice where she's lit up a teammate or criticized a teammate or called on a teammate to do something where you said, "Wow, this is a different person from last year"?
No, she hasn't done that part. But pretty much every huddle that she's in, she's the one doing the talking. And that would have never happened last season. And it happened again today. During one break in the action, I looked out there and there was a huddle and she was the only one speaking. And that's what we needed to see. You know, we needed to see one voice kind of emerge. And it's not a loud voice, don't get me wrong. It's not, you know, nonstop in your face kind of voice. But, you know. What's that? It's who's saying it, and she doesn't ever say it in a way that makes you feel anything other than, yeah, she's right, I got to do it that way. Or, yeah, she's right, we have to do it this way. There's no, you know, there's no antagonism going there where, you know, and even if she's pissed at somebody, she's not going to say it in a way that's going to, you know, it's not. And in practice sometimes, if she doesn't like the way things are going, she just takes the ball and scores like the next 10 points. Like, that's her way of saying, I got this. It's just not bad.
I know her stat sheet didn't quite show it, but what did you see from Blanca that impressed you or that you liked from today?
Blanca? Well, I think I might have said it the other day. You know, she's unique, you know. But I did tell her that she leads the free world in turnovers. Ecuador, she's the leader. Italy, she's the leader. And now in the United States, she's the leader in turnovers. And she tries to do a lot of things. So in the beginning, that's okay, because she's out there trying to impact the game, you know. And obviously the way they call the game here and the way they call it where she's been playing, two different things. So as she gets more acclimated to this, because she'll throw some passes that no one else can throw. There was a couple of them today. And then she'll throw a couple of passes that no one else should ever throw. So she's an adventure.
Hey, Coach, just wondering in particular your impressions of the starting unit, and noticed that you had a different starting unit to start the second half. Curious if there's any reason behind that and just your impressions of that first unit.
You know, we tried to go with all the veterans in the beginning, figuring they've been in this situation the most, and hopefully get us off to a good start. I think as we made our substitutions, it got a little bit more wonky, you know. It wasn't that great. But we had a list of 4 or 5 different combinations that we were going to use at certain times of the game. And the one that came out in the second half just happened to be that that point in the rotation. And I think sometimes people put way too much emphasis, obviously, on, that kid's a starter, that kid's not. There's probably more than 5 players on our team that you could say, if they started, no one would be surprised. So whatever the starting lineup is, it may stay that way all year, and it may not. I think that's another benefit of being a little deeper.
How did you feel about Sarah Williams' comfort level today, and what do you like about having, especially her and Sarah, strong on the floor together?
She's pretty intense, She's a really good rebounder, obviously. She finishes around the basket for the most part. Defensively, she has a pretty good idea of how to use her size and athleticism. And ever since we started practice 2 weeks ago, she's gotten better and better every day. And she works really well with Sarah Strong. Those two have a really good connection, and I think the more she plays with us, it's not the easiest thing in the world to play one way for 3 years and then come in and be thrown into a scenario like ours, but I think she's going to be a huge help to us. I don't know how many minutes she played today. 18. No. Can't even tell. 17. 17 minutes, 21 seconds. She'll probably play a lot more in the future. All right, guys. Thank you.